In this video I'm gonna show you how I replace my factory radio head unit with this wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto Alpine head unit while retaining the factory JBL sound system, backup camera and steering wheel controls. Okay, so this is all the stuff that you would need in order to install an aftermarket head unit into 4Runner limited with JBL system. So I'm gonna go over each individual part that I have and explain what it is. So this is dash kit made by Koschi, if I pronounce that correct, I'm not sure, but here it is. Now it doesn't come with the black trim around. The main idea why I picked this dash kit over the Metra is because this kind of gives a little bit of depth on the trim here, so it doesn't look as plain as the Metra one. You will see if you look it up. I'll have both dash kits and all the parts actually listed in the video description, so you can compare them. But anyway, going back to this kit, it doesn't come with this black trim around. So what I did, I taped everything around and I used some plastic dip, and I sprayed and gave a kind of matching look with the head unit, so it doesn't have a lot of plain empty blank space there. I don't like the way it looks without being sprayed. So this is what you need. It's a dash kit, comes with a bunch of stuff, but really this is all what you need from the kit, and a bunch of screws we'll see here in a second. Now another thing that you need, of course, in my case I picked the Alpine ILX 507 because it has a wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto and a bunch of other cool features. But anyway, this is basically what you need, all this stuff in order to use with an Alpine unit. So whatever Alpine you choose, it should work with this kit. Now this is another thing that I bought. It's called iDataLink Maestro. This is the RR, so it's the first generation. There is a second generation out there, but both generations will work with this. And then this is the antenna adapter for Toyotas. So I will have this in the link below. And another adapter here to retain the factory USB port that it's located below the radio. And one more thing, in order to be able to hook up everything correct, you need this iDataLink Maestro. This is a harness kit. It's a HRTO2, basically head unit ready for Toyotas. So we're gonna start by putting together the dash kit and the head unit. It comes with those two things. Now this one, they are marked with left and right, so this is the right one and this is the left one. So they will basically go like this. Anyway, use a towel whenever you do this. This surface, this plastic is easy to scratch, so you can mess up your dash kit if you don't use a towel or something when you install. So what are we gonna do? We're gonna use the 4 screws that were provided or came with this dash kit, and of course if you have a magnetic screwdriver, will make the things way more easier for you. So now that we are done assembling this kit, it should look like this, and we can bring the head unit in so we can fit it in. Now depending how your head unit may look, this is looks like a single DIN unit, but it's not, so we will just slide this way. Basically will sit pretty flush in there. It has a little bit of gap, but we can adjust that from the screws. So right now the next step would be to secure the head unit to the kit. Now that we have this secure, we'll move to the next step. So the next step would be programming the Maestro module, and you do that by plugging it into the computer into the USB cable. It's a micro USB cable. It came with the module, and you will have to have a web link desktop app. So I'm gonna put the link in the video description where you can get the app from. It will install a bunch of drivers, and so you can use the module. And once you open up the app, it's gonna be pretty straightforward. Just follow the on-screen instructions. So here we're gonna click on the green icon, which is the Maestro module. That's what are we gonna program today. And now it's gonna tell you that device was detected, so a bunch of information there, but you just go ahead and click on flash by vehicle. And now basically you're gonna select your year, make and model of your car. So in this case it's gonna be a 2014 4Runner with JBL system. Next step here would be to program the steering wheel controls. I already done that, so I'm gonna skip the step. But one important thing that I will have to do, you'll have to print the install guide that will help you with the wiring diagram. And this install guide is gonna be based on the wire harness you chose, like HRTO2 or just TO2 regular. You'll have to print this out and have it with you as a reference, because this is gonna be very helpful in doing all the wiring connections. So now continuing with the wiring, the reason I picked HR, that means head unit ready, so it's supposed to have connector which would make it plug and play. So they're talking about this connector right here that would plug straight to the head unit, or if it won't fit by any chance, you can cut it and do the wires one by one like I did, because I thought this connector would fit into the head unit, but I had to use the connector that it came with the head unit and cut it here and do the connections one by one. So this is the connector that I was talking about. This is the main head unit harness, and it should plug in the back, but the one that it came with, it was a little larger than this one. It had I think more connections to it, so basically I had to cut it and do the connections to the wire harness, to this HRTO2 one by one. So your best friends here would be the head unit manual, and along with the wire diagram for Maestro, you can see which connections to make, the colors. And if you're not sure about the colors or where to connect, double check with your head unit manual, and it will clarify right there the color and what is going to connect to. So that's how I did it. Now one important thing is from your TO2 box, set aside those two connectors. This is what you would need, and the A connector. So this is what you would need. This will connect to the TO2 harness into one of the connectors. It should be very easy to spot it. Here it is. I mean, this will only connect to, it's kind of foolproof, so it will only connect to one connector. You can miswire it. You can see the wires are matching, yellow with yellow, and on the other side the green, so you can't really mess it up. So you want to have that connected. Make sure it's nice and tight. Okay, and then you have the other connector that will be the sound, and it will go into, by the way, you can find this in the wire diagram, but I'm just showing that some people get confused with the wire diagram. So This will go in this connector with the 2 white wires and 2 gray wires. And from here, those 2 RCA cables will go into your head unit harness, which is the front out. So you will do white to white and gray to red. So that will give you the sound for in the car. Now we have this antenna adapter that I showed you earlier. So that will go in the back of the head unit, and this blue wire, you should wire it to the P antenna. So that's the amplifier antenna for the radio. So you will have to connect this blue wire in there, otherwise the radio will have to crank up the volume pretty high in order to be able to hear anything. So that's what you need for that. And the other connector, we'll take a look at it later in the car. Actually, one more thing that we have to wire before we head to the car, would be easier to see it here, would be this module. So this has a bunch of connectors, but again, this is pretty much foolproof as well, so you shouldn't have any issues to find what connectors to plug in where. Basically, you're gonna have the TO2 harness plug in the Maestro here. So this wider one, you will see the pins are matching, or the connector. And let's see, this one is a green connector, so it's gonna go to the green, and this one will go in here into the 3-pin connector. Let's see if I missed anything. And this data cable, it would go into the connector from that was supplied with the head unit, and it should say somewhere, there we have it, iData link. So we'll plug that in here. Excuse guys, excuse the mess, I'm not very good at cable management. This is the best that I can come up with, but hey, it works. So now we can once we have this all connected, now we can head to the car. So now that we are here and ready to take everything out, we'll start by pulling those side panels out. So just grab it and pull it out, and they should just come out. In some cases it will come just the panel out. I'm not sure why in my case the whole thing comes out, but anyway, there is gonna be a connector here in the back. Just pull it out, okay, and set this whole thing aside. Now you will need a 10mm socket to take those 4 screws out. We're gonna start by doing that. Once all the screws are out, have some towels ready to cover the center dash here, because you can scratch it pretty badly. I use double 2 layers just in case. So I have all this side here covered with towels. And now, since those screws are out, just grab the head unit and pull straight out, and it should come just right out. And in the back is there are gonna be a bunch of connectors. So here in the back of the unit, start by pressing those tabs and pull the connectors out. It's kind of hard with one hand to do it. Well, I think I took everything out. Oh, except something. So see, that's why I'm saying have some towels ready here, because those those are sharp and they can cut through the towel. So it looks like I forgot a wire, so it's this gray one. There we go. So once we have it all out, all the head unit, we are back on the workbench. What we'll have to do is transfer all the air vents and the hazard button and on the new dash kit that we bought. So we're starting with those 2 screws here. There are 2 screws, and you need a very small Phillips screwdriver. Okay, so once we have those screws out, this plastic cover should just slide out. Put it on the side for now. Now we'll have to take those vents out. So you'll see they have those tabs, so we'll have to lift it while we pulling it out, but it has a bunch of those tabs on the side as well, so we'll probably need a flat screwdriver. And now the hazard button will have to come out of this assembly here. So in order to do that, we'll have to take out this connector here, and this connector has that little tab in there, so we'll have to should be able to pull this tab out and slide the connector out, and there we go, it's coming out. Now to take the hazard button out, we'll just has 2 tabs, one here and one on the other side. So basically we'll just press the tab in and the button will just slide right out. But before you do that, take the connector out, and that's your hazard button. Now one more thing that we'll have to take out are those 2 screws here on each side. And the screw should be out. So right now that's all we have. Our head unit doesn't have the vents anymore and looks like the one we just bought, so we're gonna transfer everything over to the new one. We're gonna take the new dash kit and start putting those little covers on the side that we took off. You kind of have to hold it from the front so it doesn't fall when you put the screws in. Again, magnetic screwdriver would be the best here. And there we have those 2 covers in. So now we're gonna just insert the hazard button, and it should just slide right in. You should hear it clicking. And now it's time for the vents. So they are marked in case you get confused, the right hand side. So that should be on this side. And those they should just snap right in, way easier than when they were taken out. Make sure it's all nice and tight. Flip it over, make sure everything works. So that's good. Make sure you align those tabs and then just give it a firm push. Make sure it's nice and snug in there, and again go and flip it over and make sure everything works. And now the last step would be to mount this top piece. And you should just slide in there. Like that, and the last two tiny screws, and that's it. We'll plug in the hazard light switch, and you're good to go. We can go back to the vehicle and continue our install. So at this point I've made basically all my wire connections here. Everything at this point should be plug and play. You can't miss any connections. If you missed something, you will notice at some point, but it shouldn't be a problem for you. So now this is that USB adapter that I was showing you before. That is made to retain this factory USB port. So make sure, if you wanna have that, and if you have two USB ports that came with the head unit, so if it supports two USB ports, make sure you plug it into the Apple CarPlay, like if you wanna do it like me, because I will probably use that one while charging my phone and have the wired Apple CarPlay connections as well. Now other than that, this is how it looks. As I said before, as I said many times, I'm not very good at cable management, and it's kind of tough, to be honest, with so many wires to find a way to organize them. But luckily this head unit gives me some space on here, so I can hide all these wires behind it on top of the unit. This is the head unit here, so have some space up here because it looks like a single DIN unit. But anyway, make sure you don't forget the microphone to plug it in and all that stuff. By the way, the microphone, the way I hooked it up, I hooked it up here. There is a video how to do that. I'll put a link in the video description how I did the microphone. And GPS antenna, will find a place here. I actually found a place. If you take off this clock here, it's basically pretty easy. It's held in two screws, one on each side, so they take those off and you will have more access under the dash. That is a great location to mount a GPS antenna. That's a must in order to be able to use the wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. So right there where that white plastic is, there is a metal plate on top, is the perfect place to stick our antenna. So basically what I'm gonna do here, I'm just gonna shove that GPS thing in there, and it will sit literally next to the original factory car GPS antenna. Unfortunately, there is no adapter to be able to use the original GPS antenna, so because of that, you're gonna install the one that it came with your head unit. So that being said, basically that's the connection that I have, and that's the cable, and that plugs right back in behind the head unit in the designated port for the GPS antenna. Now the only thing you'll be to reinstall and mount back the clock using those two screws, one on each side. Alright, so now that we have everything up and ready, I'm gonna do a quick demo to see how it works and how what features we've gained with this install. And unfortunately, I don't think there is a way to change that boot screen, but anyway, it didn't take long to boot up, and in a second here you will see Apple CarPlay kicking in. There is no any wire connections, everything it's wirelessly, and there we go. Don't need that. You can control that from the steering wheel as well, but here it is, almost no lag, so that is good. It's one of the best head units out there with less lag on the head unit on the Apple CarPlay. But some cool things that we've gained with this is some gauges that would show the coolant temperature, intake temperature, and of course you can customize that and select what kind of gauges you want. As you can see, it's fully customizable. There is a bunch of information that you can choose for the gauges there. Now, one thing, if you have a low sound when after you install the head unit, you're trying to play a song to see if the sound works, and there is very low sound that you have to crank up the volume all the way, make sure you are going to the Maestro setup here, and I believe let's see, under the vehicle features you have vehicle amplifier, and go to the gain. Make sure you select the gain. I think on default it was on 10, so when I tried it for the first time the sound was kind of low, so I thought I did some miswiring or anything, but actually it's just you gotta set up the gain. Now I've tried to set up the gain higher than 50, but I think 50 is like what it is by default. Anything above that will be too much for the factory speaker, so I don't want to mess with that. 50, it's my sweet spot and it's loud enough for me. But anyway, that's what we have here. And also one more interesting thing that we've gained with this Maestro feature under the vehicle info. You can have tire pressure monitor sensors, and it shows the battery voltage in real time as well. Now I don't have a tire pressure monitor sensor on this car, but if you do, we'll retain that feature. And also if you have any error codes, you can check that as well by going to show DTC, but I don't have any error code, so it won't let me click on it. But yeah, that's about it. And another cool feature that we've gained here is the cam button. It will switch to backup camera, but if you have a front camera installed, it will switch to that one as well. So that's pretty cool. I know there is a module out there called anytime cam, so or anytime camera or something like that, but this one, it's already built in, so it's pretty cool that you can switch anytime you want. This is the head unit. That's how it works. I really like it. I like that this blue tone here for the head unit kind of matches with the rest of the dash, kind of bluish color. Like you see here is it blue, will match the climate control screen. So I'm really excited. I'm looking forward to use it, and if you have any questions about how to install this, feel free to ask in the comments, and I will do my best to help you out if you are getting or having any troubles with this install.